Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. It is episode 300, however you want to say it, and the 5-year anniversary of this podcast. My goodness, I cannot compartmentalize this. Thank you to all of you that have subscribed, that have liked, that have followed, everything, retweeted, reposted, sent emails, so many emails. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for so much for being here in general, whether you started at episode 1 or you are starting today. I appreciate every single one of you. So before we move into the 300, into the spectacular here, the 5-year anniversary, let's go ahead and hear from some of you awesome people out there.
This is Captain Price. 300.
300.
300.
300.
300.
300.
300.
300.
300.
300.
300, baby.
300.
Congratulations on all the episodes, Matt. 300.
300.
300.
300.
300.
300.
300.
Well, the first segment we are going to go to is the very original episode 1. And I need you to keep in mind 2 things. First of all, I had no idea what I was doing. And second of all, I was literally recording on a desktop microphone that was 2 inches by 2 inches, a little square deal that maybe stuck up 1/4 inch. So I guess here we go.
We step into the maiden voyage of this podcast. I gotta say, I am very excited to start this. I love podcasting. First one on my own. And I love Lego, so it was natural to mix the two together. I hope you guys are going to find this episode fantastic and the episodes therefore after. So let's go ahead and kick this off. So as I said, I'm your minifig host, Matt. And this podcast is simply going to be about Lego, if the introduction didn't let you know that well enough. My idea for this thing is to review those Legos that are coming out, some that may have come in the past, but also interview those important people around the AFOL community. Now, those of you that are new to the AFOL, AFOL is Adult Fan of Lego. So if there's any acronyms that get used during this podcast, I will do my best to make sure that I explain them thoroughly to those of you that may be new to the overall scene, I guess you could say. So my goal for this podcast, as I mentioned, is to try and bring you guys the latest, the greatest news, what is out there, what's going on around the AFOL community, but also get those interviews that are harder to come by that you can see on YouTube. Sometimes you might be able to see on a Lego blog somewhere, but I really want to bring those kind of to life, you know, some of the great people out there that do reviews, but also those that are creators, content creators, as far as blogs, as far as YouTube videos. I'm sure you're all very familiar with Jang Bricks. If you're not, you need to go check him out. He is fantastic, very thorough, and his Lego City is something to die for those of you that are into that end of Lego.
So the next couple clips you're going to hear come from Will Reed. Will's done a lot of writing for the brickblogger.com. So let's go ahead and get into these classics. All right. Today, yet again, we are graced with the presence of the one and only Mr. I Love Spaghetti, Will Reed. Will, welcome to the show, sir.
Yes, my child. You said I was Grace. I
I thought I needed to be holier than thou or something. No.
No, you're pretty good.
All right.
You're always good around here. Always in these parts.
Yes.
These parts, and they're always good for Will Reed. We would love to hear your Fiat 500 or your Fiat 500.
I love spaghetti.
I did not say that. That's Will. So
That's me. I'm going to eat a whole plate of spaghetti. And
send all your hate mail courtesy to Will Reed at thebrickblogger.com.
Sorry, Italy. You could tell how much of Star Wars fans we are.
That show where they fight people on different planets. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding, Star Wars people. I'm trying to razz you.
With laser fighty zoom swords and they're space wizards.
God, now
right?
You offended the Italians before during the Batmobile episode, and now you're offending Star Wars. I just can't win, man. I just can't.
I'm so sorry. I love spaceships.
There's another drop. There we go. So this next one here is from Dan from previously from Between the Bricks. There's April B that's in here a little bit and myself. And then we had the Ninjago people of Tommy Kalmar and Tommy Andreasen as we did the interview for Ninjago City Gardens. So let's get this one in.
So over the years, as far as the Lego sets are concerned, how many of them have you guys collected?
Josh, you go first.
Oh, I thought it was just you two. So I was a day one set fan. Whenever it came out, I didn't know there was a show because I didn't really watch TV as a kid. So I was 14 at the time. But anyway, so
that's how you get good at art. Like spend your time somewhere else.
I bought most of the pilot sets. I didn't buy all of the Serpentine sets because I didn't have any money because I was 14. And around Rebooted, I realized there was a show, or I realized how to watch the show, which was 144p on my iPod Touch. So I watched it, and then I got back into the sets. I bought most of the Rebooted sets, and then I went back and bought all of the Final Battle sets, and then I've been collecting ever since. So I have most of the pilot. I have very few Serpentine, all of the Final Battle, and it just goes on. You can see right there, I have the movie bounty right there. Mm-hmm. I got a lot more in my closet, but I'm kind of in a temporary room right now, so most of it's in storage.
Well, as for me, I think I have less than 10 sets actually. Whenever there's something that's really important, I feel like, this is the essence of the show, like the Destiny's Bounty or the Monastery, the Temple of Light, or some of the dragons, I picked that up. But I like things without studs. So, for instance, I'm a big Star Wars fan. I don't collect Lego Star Wars because I like my models to be, more movie accurate.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have a lot of the Ninjago movie stuff, and I think it's just due to the fact they're so basically built and big. And I think also it was like a turning point design-wise. They're coming out of movies suddenly, because they were so amazing. Those products, whether it was the big Ninjago City or the Destiny's Bounty, that also actually influenced the designs coming out of that, of how we should amp up our products or the detail level of it. So I have a lot of those.
That was a great show. I really love that show. The next one here that we have comes from April B, where we kind of did an initial interview with her, and she is talking about her streaming and that kind of stuff. So are you going to do what everybody else does and do a 24-hour stream for your Twitchiversary?
No.
Smart person.
Absolutely not.
I can't. It's difficult to do something. Now, I know Twitch and Lego, they go kind of hand in hand for you, but I can't even imagine just doing something for 24 hours and having to fill content and talk to somebody for 24 straight hours.
Yeah.
Much less stay awake.
Yeah. Cause there's definitely, I've done a 12-hour stream. Well, I've done 2 12-hour streams now at this point. And one of them was a co-stream, so it was a lot easier because when you have that period of time where you like start to get tired or whatever, you have that other person to kind of pick up your slack. But when you're streaming on your own for that long period of time and you hit that like, oh, it's the middle of the night now and chat's kind of quiet and there's not a lot going on and you're just like, I'm kind of hungry and I want to go to bed. Like I don't want to have like, I don't want to look back on a 24-hour stream and be like, wow, like 6 hours of that I completely hated.
6 hours of that I was the only one talking to myself like a crazy person.
Yeah.
But you were on Twitter and Lego like reposted your Twitter or retweeted it or liked it or something because it was a big deal. Like you did the rainbow brick challenge or whatever it was. I don't even know. I came in late like I always do. And I'm like, oh, why am I tagged in this? Why do I have 37 notifications?
I'm so sorry.
And I look at it and I'm like, April did something like, oh God, now what? So I look and I'm like, oh, that is one sick rainbow. Like it was the rainbow of the year. However you made it, I don't know how you made it. I don't know what you did. I don't know what fairy dust you sprinkled on it, but it was wicked cool. And then it was like, I mean, there's like people in Australia and there's people in France and there's people in South Africa and there's people in Argentina. I'm like I'm clicking to see who these people are. I'm like, are these Lego people? Are these Lego people? No, they're not. And then I'm seeing these retweets and I'm like, Lego retweeted and somebody else retweeted and somebody else that's affiliated with Lego retweeted. I'm like, what is going on here? So you went from this is my benign rainbow made of Lego to hello, this is me. I'm April B and this is my rainbow. That's basically what happened.
Pretty much. It was kind of crazy. I wasn't expecting the reception that it got. And it was just kind of like the perfect timing on all fronts because I had already intended on making that rainbow for the mock that I'm currently working on. And I was waiting for a Bricklink order to come in and stuff came in at the right time. And I was still, a few days late on the whole rainbow challenge thing. I didn't post it on day one, but it just took off. It's been kind of crazy.
You've saved the best for last. And Lego was like, we told you, we got you. Watch. Yeah. And it just went poof.
Yeah.
It was like an atomic bomb. And I'm like, I wake up and I'm in the wave of this thing. I'm like, oh God, I just got out of bed. What is going on? It just blew up. And
you're telling me.
Well, yeah, you're the originator. You're like, retweet. Yep. That's my only like and retweet I'm going to get on this. And it went poof.
Exactly. No, I posted that at like 11 o'clock at night or something crazy. And then it was the same thing. I woke up and there was like, my phone had so many notifications. I was like, what in the world even happened? I don't understand this. And I was like swiping through like, okay, whatever. Somebody retweeted something I tweeted. So I was just like skipping all those. And then all of a sudden, like I'm swiping. And then Lego retweeted your tweet. And I was like, what?
You're like, I made it. I made it. I can retire.
I know, right? And then they DM'd me and stuff. I was like, whoa, this is the day. This is the day I've made it.
You're like, hey, husband, you've been in AFOL your whole life. Guess what? I made a magical rainbow out of Lego and I got retweeted. Whoop.
Yeah.
What did you do today? Nothing. Yeah, I got to say, it was pretty cool to see it blow up because I've gotten to know you over the last few months. And to see that, which I had no idea what this challenge was even going on. Like I said, I'm always late to the party. I don't know whether it's me or whether it's Twitter, my Twitter, but I get to it. I'm like, that's kind of cool. That's really cool. And then it goes ding, ding, buzz, 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 buzz for like the next 4 days. And I'm like, will the madness please end?
I'm so sorry.
I'm kidding. It's not a big deal. It was funny. This next clip we have comes from Chris Stamp. He is the Lego Speed Champions lead designer, and we've got a few of him, so here's the first.
But for us, it's not just about the car, it's also about the building experience. And what we don't want is repetition. So when you get a lot of these modern cars being that, because of all the rules there is these days about aerodynamics and road safety and all that kind of stuff, a lot of the shaping can get very similar. Then obviously the build experience will be very similar. And that's something I would like to avoid if possible. So doing things like Formula E or doing things like the Top Fuel Dragster or doing the Ford Bronco, they're very different from a silhouette, from a build experience than the standard, I don't know, pick a car, than the Ferrari Tributo that we did last year. When you do the Ferrari Tributo, that is to some extent what people think in their mind is, oh, that's classic Speed Champions. But we don't want to be classic. We don't want to do a Tributo in every year in a different color type of thing. We want to do a Tributo this year, and then next year we want to do a like you said, a 1920s Indy race car or something like that. We really want to mix it up because at the end of the day, the building experience is 50% of what's important to us. Yes, it's this car. Yes, it's how it looks, but it's also what you experience when you're building it. Oh, wow, they used a meat cleaver for a thin or a mud skirt on a 6-wide, 5-wide Mini Cooper. They used an Exonite's axe for a headlight sideways, or on the new McLaren we just launched, we used a traditional axe from like the 90s or the 80s as a headlight sideways linked onto a tap kind of thing. Like we did the McLaren Senna, we used a cockpit upside down, not connected to anything, just locked in place because of the way it's a system. Like those are the things that we want. We want to educate kids who's maybe getting older than Lego City. They may be growing out of Lego City. They're used to everything being stacking and basic building. Sure. We want to say to them, look, you know Lego, but I want to teach you a thing or two about how you can be even more creative than you already are with Lego. But then to the other extent, we know that there's a huge audience out there of teens and adults and grown men who just want to buy a Speed Champions and have it on display on their office desk at work. We want those guys to pick up a Lego model and say, wow, I remember what it was like to play with as a kid. Oh, wow, look at these new tips and tricks and all this stuff. Or it's an AFOL who collects every modular building there's ever been because they love the quirky building techniques, that they pick up a Speed Champions and they're like, oh, wow, I see what they've done here. This is great. We want to target all of those people together. There isn't an age limit on being a car fan. So we want to appeal to anybody who's a car fan. It's not like, you can only be 9 years old to appreciate cars. And then when you get that 10-year-old birthday comes around, then you're now into bikes instead.
Right.
That would be crazy. So, yeah.
The next one here that we're going to get into comes from the Lego Ideas Seinfeld set design team, specifically the graphic designer here. And it was a great conversation. If you missed that episode, I implore you to go back and check it out. However, this is a really cool snippet about the George minifig.
My question to you is, I think it was a few days ago. Obviously, this is not going to be out until some time from now. But Jason Alexander put out on social media, he's like, well, I guess I'm now a Lego or something like that. And it was a picture of his George minifig. You designed the George minifig. Being a super fan, I don't know if you saw it. How does that feel to you? I mean, like you are ingrained into the Seinfeld lore for the rest of history.
I'm telling you, it's a big deal. At least for us three, we're just huge fans. And for us, whenever we get like a chance to do something like that, like you said, be part of history, even if it's for a little bit, like it's just huge for us because we have so much love for this IP, for this show, that to have an actor recognize your work is kind of like, whoa, that's crazy. So like, no, yeah, I was super excited when I saw that. So I just hope we could do more Jason Alexander. I got to figure out where else he's in.
So we go back to Chris Stamp here again with some more in-depth knowledge about Speed Champions.
And what you'll see is that also comes through the enthusiasm of the designers who come on the team. I know that, for example, me and CERN, who I mentioned, we're challenging each other. We're competing with each other constantly. And there's nothing better than not sitting at our desks, but sitting on the floor next to the piles of elements and saying, oh, we could. Then you make something small. And you say, oh, what about this? And you're like, and you take it and you say, well, actually, and you tweak it a little bit and you make it better. And you're like, you become two 8-year-olds, like, trying to see who can do the better McLaren rear end with the taillights and stuff like that. So we had with the dragster, I'm so proud of the dragster. A lot of people look at the dragster and they think it's just very basic stacking. Or they look at the Challenger as well and they think, oh, it's very boxy, so it must be a very basic build. I think one of the best build experiences this year has been the dragster, or even the Challenger as well. If you look at how we built the headlights and the taillights, and the work that we had Sven, one of our colleagues, Sven Franek, working on, the level of detail and the passion that he brought to it was fantastic. So yeah, I think it definitely comes down to the enthusiasm we have on the team, that we're car fans ourselves, the knowledge we have that we know how critical you guys are and detail centric, but then also we don't want to just make a new element for everything.
Sure.
Like, we are Lego. We've got elements that's been around for 80 years. We want to see how can we use that element in a brand new way that nobody's thought of, or how can we steal a technique that's been used in a modular building or on a Star Wars spaceship, and then say that we came up with it ourselves.
Well, we took your technique and we put it in this car, so we're cooler than you.
Yeah, well, we did it in Ferrari red and you guys did it in Star Wars gray, so that means it's ours. So but seriously, it's all about trying to do the most accurate car we can, because it would be very easy for us to just mold a headlight and say, okay, well, look, it's so accurate. But that's not us. Like, that's more what you get from a diecast.
Sure.
What makes us Lego is the fact that it isn't 100%. It is always going to be a caricature. I mean, we're going to try and make it the best caricature you'll see, but it's always going to be that caricature. So yeah, I think it just takes time, and it's all about that enthusiasm. That's all I can say is getting enjoyment out of the challenge of trying to capture a detail, and getting to the extreme, getting super frustrated about not capturing a detail. Like, I've had so many late nights where I go home and I'll be sat watching the TV and my girlfriend will say, oh, what you thinking? And I'm like, this Ferrari taillight, what if I use a Nexo Knights sword in a 35-degree angle? Like, you start coming up with all this crazy stuff. So
meanwhile, she's like, I need you to be here. I need you to be present. And you're like, I can't get it out of my brain. I need to solve this.
She's not thinking like, oh, I wish I'd never asked.
All right. The last thing you want to hear is we have to take an ad break. But unfortunately, we have to take an ad break super quick, and we will be back with the rest of this fantastic anniversary episode, which I am in love with. Well, the next clip you're going to hear comes from Mike Hinkle, aka John Hammond, super cool guy that came from Brickworld, Chicago. Super fun interview. Go back and check it out, but here we go. Well, guys, today I'm here with Mike Hinkle, aka John Hammond.
That's me today.
That is you today. He's got his big, what do you want to call it? The
Visitor Center from Jurassic Park, the original movie.
The best movie, by the way.
Yep.
And then you also have another build as well, but by far one of the coolest builds I have ever seen Jurassic related ever. I was blown away, and I can't believe that I didn't notice it before early this morning. It's incredible. It's amazing.
Thank you. I think being in character behind the build has drawn a lot of attention as well. Yeah, a lot of surprised looks on faces when they look at the build and it's like, oh, this is great. And then they look at me and it's just like, it makes my day.
So is it one of those things, like, obviously you're not going out in public necessarily like this all the time, but is there a time like, you know what, it's Halloween, I'm going to go dress up as John Hammond? And I mean, do you enjoy, the interaction with people, like taking pictures and all that kind of stuff?
The cosplay part of it's nice. I've been doing Halloween in Las Vegas for many years now. The wife and I go out. It's her birthday. We celebrate. Up until last year, it has always gone as a demon. It's like 2 hours to get all the makeup on and the boots, and that's a lot of work. And I'm getting up there in the years. So it was 3 or 4 years ago, one of the vendors here at Brickworld told me I looked just like John Hammond if I let my beard grow in. So with the movie coming out and everything this year, I thought, yeah, I could do Jurassic Park. I didn't do anything at that point, but I tried it out Halloween last year when it's John Hammond. Yeah, a lot of photo ops. So I figured I'll do Jurassic Park for Brick World, get dressed up. It should be awesome.
Now you just need to learn how to sign John Hammond's name, you know?
Yeah.
Here, I'll sign it for you.
Yeah, I'm sure it's pretty sloppy, and so is mine. So it'll probably blend in pretty
exactly. Nobody will know the difference.
That's right. I can't sign the same thing twice. It never looks the same. It's a curse.
The next little snippet here comes from Dan from Building with the Big Black Dog. Now, he was Between the Bricks. But anyway, it comes from Dan when him and April B were on talking about the Dom Charger, which is a Technic set. So here we go.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me. No, I'm happy to come and have a chat, mate.
I'm glad you're here.
So do you want me to tell you my story?
Absolutely.
Do it.
Okay. So I guess I'll try and do it quickly, but I can't make any promises. In the beginning, I had Lego as a child, like most kids did, and I loved it. And then I went into a dark age, and I didn't come out of my dark age until quite late, actually. And the reason I came out of my dark age was actually my son. So we had seen a news bite on TV for a Lego show that happened in Christchurch. And I live in Wellington, which is in the other island. And my son wanted to go to the Wellington Brick Show, and we don't have one. And so I discovered that, had a look around, discovered there was no group in Wellington that did Lego shows or anything like that. So I started a group, and out of that, the Wellington Lego User Group was born. I was the president of that group for 5 years and the ambassador. We got it when we got it to ALUG status. And out of that, I just fell back in love with Lego. Lord of the Rings was probably my biggest theme that brought me out. My first set that I purchased for myself when I came out of my dark age was the pirate ship Ambush from Lord of the Rings. And then I spent probably the better part of a year collecting all of the Lord of the Rings sets, because at that stage they were all off the shelf. And went to some Lego shows, organized our Lego show for Wellington, our first one in 2015, and it just grew from there. And my transition to becoming a recognized Lego fan media happened at the beginning of 2019, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, beginning of 2019. So I had essentially I had a bit of a mental breakdown, and I was diagnosed with PTSD from my former employment as an army medic and a paramedic. And I needed a way, or wanted a way, to communicate with my Lego friends, and live streaming and doing it from the, essentially the safety of my own home seemed to be the answer. So out of that, Between the Bricks was born, and I applied for RLFM status, and I was given it. And I went to a bunch of Lego shows, and I live streamed, and I've been live streaming now for a year and a half, and I've grown Between the Bricks from nothing in that year and a half to what it is now. And here we are on the Bricks King podcast as an esteemed guest.
This was a super fun episode to record. I had a blast talking to him, especially when you get into the infancy of starting a Bricklink store. It is not as easy as you think. So I want you guys to check this out, and here we go. So today, good listeners around the world, today I am joined by a special guest. We've never had anybody on here like this before that is quite to this degree profession of Lego. And because it is a profession. And today I'm joined by Kevin, who runs a Bricklink store, Mevitz Bricks. Some of you know him very well. I know some of the Twitch community know you very, very well. But Kevin, welcome to the show. It's been a while. We finally worked things out. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you for having me on.
So you are a Texan. I currently live in Texas, although I'm not born and bred Texan. But regardless, I had to have you on because I wanted to talk a little bit about what is going on with Bricklink. So I just kind of want to know, why get into this? Why Lego? Why just kind of the whole broad thing of how you found Bricklink, what really led you to it. So I'll let you kind of take it away.
I played with Lego as a kid, just like almost everybody did. And then I went through my dark ages and I couldn't stand Lego. In fact, people would give me Lego, and I didn't enjoy doing it. It was really strange. And then I had a son and daughter. My son was more into the Lego than my daughter was, and so he pretty much every birthday and Christmas was Lego sets. Of course, at his age, around 6 or 7 years old, he couldn't build them. So guess what? I had to build them, and so I helped him out and started falling back in love with it. Probably because heck, they had all kinds of sets, Star Wars sets. Mainly Star Wars sets is what he was into, but city sets as well. And back when I played with Lego, dating myself, the sets were a house, a car, and so I think maybe they had the castle, but my parents at that time couldn't afford that castle or anything like that. But so I just had the minimal stuff, I would say. So I actually started enjoying playing with it. But I got into Bricklink because my son probably hit the age about 12 years old, and he was still getting Lego for Christmas and birthdays. Except what I noticed was he was opening up the boxes, taking the minifigs out, and leaving the sets behind. And now he can build them. At age 9, he just started building like crazy. So I knew he could build them, and so I finally started looking. I'm like, dude, did you just want the minifigs? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I said, let me see if I can figure out how to, just buy the minifigs. So started doing some research and started looking online to buy minifigs, and lo and behold, Bricklink popped up, and it was one of those moments of, I can get the minifigs he wants. I don't have to spend $40 on a set, type thing, and got really interested in it. So I started buying the minifigs, and then I just started noticing how much of the community was into it. My son started to fall off playing with Legos, period. But I still wanted to be involved in the community and stuff, and still be involved with the Lego, the people that I had met and things.
Sure.
So the best way, I also wanted to start a business. I've always wanted to start a business on my own. Never have. I still today have a current day job. Lego is, I call my side gig right now. So, but I've always wanted to start a job, and it was one of those things of it didn't really take much to get started with Bricklink. So I just started slowly putting in some parts. Got my first sell, learned as I went along. I had a lot of help.
So this next clip comes from David from Solid Brick Studios. Again, I don't know junk about Star Wars, but David seems to know every nook and cranny. I mean, he could probably tell you what size shoe Luke Skywalker wears, or at least the minifig, for instance. However, let's go ahead and get into this one. Even if 50 eyes are looking at it, there's still a chance something gets overlooked.
I mean, to be fair, the logos, the Imperial logo, Republic logo, almost look identical. It's only a couple different lines and a little bit of different shaping. So I could easily see how, like, if you're not like a diehard Star Wars fan, that could get easily overlooked.
Well, I will be curious to see what happens with these. I'm going to call it a misprint. These misprint boxes, these misprint sets, because they are immediately going to go online for double, triple what they paid for it to be able to say, hey, look, it's an exclusive. And now you and I, like you said, we have no idea how many sets have been produced. It could be in the millions for all we know. So it may not be all that exclusive. It's just going to be one of those things. You're like, oh, hey, look at what I got.
Exactly. I think it's going to be a very elusive item for a long time for LEGO Star Wars fans. I think for the rest of the year, it's going to be out of stock, and it's just going to come in stock and immediately go out.
Yep.
But again, like I said, they came out and they said December, and so did they account for like being out of stock so quickly? Did they account for the demand? So I think that new batch of the corrected logo, the misprint is no longer there. I think that's going to come up way sooner. I think, if I'm making a prediction here, it could be as soon as October.
And one of the things that you will notice if you ever have an opportunity to talk to her or listen back to the episode, her little giggle, and so many people do it and they don't realize it, but it just makes it even better.
Yeah. Well, for the Dominatrix line, I do like to stick with black and silver mostly. I did one black and gold grommeted choker as well. And then I did incorporate some rainbow hearts as well with that. But yeah, I like this. Besides the rainbow, I kind of like to keep it graphic, I guess, black and white and red, something like that. Yeah, for that look. Again, I think it's just like the aesthetic I I'm drawn to. Really, the style that I like, bold and edgy, I guess. Yeah.
I would say very bold, very edgy.
Yeah, and they're good for wearing, like I said, for a special occasion, but also kind of just like as an art piece too. I could see it, maybe like on a pedestal or hanging on a wall, like how you do see, like contemporary jewelry that's considered like wearable art. That they'll have like in art shows, that kind of thing. It's kind of, it can be viewed as that in that regard as well.
Right.
Not the most wearable piece. It's more, it's like wearable art, it all is. So it's not something you're going to wear every day, but maybe you would have out displayed to enjoy that way as well.
Sure. Absolutely. Up next, we have Kate, known as Brick Huntress on Instagram. Super impressive mosaic builder. If you do not know anything about her, you are living in a dark room with no internet or anything. However, this interview comes from her during Nebraska Brick Days just about 2 years ago. So we've already heard about kind of what your favorite was to this point. Is there something that you're doing in the future where you're like, you know what, I can't wait to share this with the community?
Yeah.
Can you give us a teaser? You don't have to sell it completely, but something that to give people to hang on.
I'm doing my next large one is going to be Stranger Things.
Oh my God. Everybody's going to be gushing.
I love anything spooky. I've always loved like the X-Files and just all of it. So it's going to be like a 2-panel piece, and one side is going to be the upside,
okay,
and the other panel is going to be the underside. And then they're going to flip and turn as you go.
Goodness.
So you see both sides.
You're going to make people cry. That sounds really cool.
So
that sounds really
to have
interesting.
that done either by, BrickCon is pretty soon, so
Yes.
I don't think I'm going to get it done by then.
Probably not.
But by Bricks Cascade is my home convention in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah. Okay. Have you done any commissions?
I have.
You have?
Yes.
What commissions have you done to this point?
I've done some of the iconic Oregon posters, like the National Park posters. I've done 3 of those. A fisherman, which is that one was my favorite. Just down the river with trees in the background. I liked the colors of that one. I make my own kits, mosaic kits.
I was going to ask. That was going to be my next question.
I've sold about 300-ish, maybe 400 now to kids, adults. Yeah. So I provide the base plate, directions, and all the pieces.
Awesome.
And they're all my designs.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's something. There's something there with the art demographic for people.
Yeah.
And to have something like that you created, I mean, that's got to be extremely exciting. Like, oh my God, I've sold this. It's something.
Yeah, one of the posters, I was like, oh my God, that just happened. Like that moment of selling your first art piece is like, you can't even explain it.
Yeah.
Like, it was so cool.
So have you ever thought about, some of your big ones down there, have you ever thought about, you know what, yes, I like taking them to shows and stuff like that, but maybe if somebody were to come up to me and say, hey, is this for sale? Would you sell something?
I would sell some of them, yeah. I don't think I would sell my original girl just because it means a lot. And I don't think I would sell that drowning girl. I would make a new one for someone.
Okay.
Like I would keep mine and then make another copy.
That would make sense, yeah. There's something about the original, first edition.
Just the 2 girls, I think. Those are the ones that I would keep.
Everything else could go.
Copy of, but the other ones I would let go.
Next up, we have a clip from Martin of Brick Snaps. If you're not familiar with Brick Snaps, you need to go ahead and get in on it. Martin does all kinds of stuff on Instagram as well as Brick Huntress and many, many others of you out there. However, this clip comes from Brick World Chicago of 2022, but you can also check out the Nebraska Brick Days from, I believe, 3 years ago. However, let's go ahead and dig into this one. The inspiration's there.
Or maybe I'm going to point out a lady with blonde hair over there. Her name's Megan. That leads into it. I get in the elevator and she's like, Brick Snaps. I'm like, hi. Everyone has Instagram handles. I don't think she ever shown her face, and she tells me what she's done. She's like, I built a Quidditch pitch, and I built it, and it's inspired by what you were doing. And I was like, okay, great, and I walked over, I said, show me it, and there were things I was like, oh my gosh, there's things I can add to my one, and I was pleased because she'd built something that in a way I had built and people had built before me.
Yeah.
It's not mine, it's not my build.
Right.
Universal Studios own the right to Quidditch,
right.
so there's not too many ways to build it differently, right. But she'd added other things. I was like, okay, I'm going to take from what you've done and add that to mine, just so you know.
Yeah.
But she's one who's like, I saw that and I wanted to do it this way, and I think go for it. I was talking to a couple of people like, man, I want to build the house just like this. I said, do it. It's yours, right?
Yeah,
it's hard to do. I mean, it's not my design. It's Disney's design. And then I've got Ben over here, Ben Critchford, who's the AFOL that when I came here in 2017, like one of the ones who I connected with and chatted, and he's an inspiration for me, and I think we bounced each other ideas off each other, and we both end up building an Encanto house at the same time. And I told him, I was like, someone sent me a picture of Legoscape sculpture and they're building it. I was like, oh no! And Ben was like, oh no! and so we kind of bounced off each other, and our builds are not the same, but the same style house, and they're built differently, and they're built with different people. And I really welcome that, right? I love it. And there's actually things from Ben, so I'm like, I should have done that. He won't say the same thing about me. And got a giant castle next to him as well.
Right, yeah.
Super. So I think, like, most ideas of builds, especially if they're based off something I have no ownership to that idea. I have no ownership to a technique. Even if it's something I'm like, I did this, well, it's pretty selfish of me to say, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And I think in any community, we only grow from being like, do it, let me show you how to do it. And so on Instagram, I would do live streams on Sundays when I was doing Encanto House, and I'd show, here's my process, this is what I've done, this is what I'm doing. Some people don't like spoilers because they don't want someone to get there before them. Or take my idea. It doesn't matter. It's my idea, the way I build it, I own it. You do your one, you own it. It's great. Celebrate that.
It came from your mind.
Sure.
There you go. The last clip we have comes from Tom of Tom Jurassic Collectibles, all kinds of different things. Anything to do with Jurassic, Tom has it. But this is one of the many episodes that we have done together, and this one, among many others, made me laugh very much so. So I hope you enjoy it. The dinosaur looks a little funky. The T-Rex looks a little funky with the green underbelly. I don't hate it. But when I saw this, I immediately thought of you. And the reason is because of the fish wildlife worker, because you have been such a pain to listen to. About all the other, what is it? ACU?
Yeah.
Guys, the same torso. I can't just every single time a set comes out. We've already done this. Now I have to make my own guy. Yeah. Now you get something fresh, Tom. Something completely undone that you can add to your collection, make a scene.
I think what this shows, right, is I need to bring all of my really weird criticisms to your podcast, because then people will hear them.
The next time I talk to one of the designers, I will make sure Tom was not happy with your ACU people. Please don't ever do that again.
I will say, well, Matt, it's funny you bring them up, because the issue with the ACU workers was that the one in the Batmobile and the one in the boat used the same head, and it was the head with the headset on it. And if you look at this wildlife worker here, you'll notice that we use the same head again for a third time. But I think there's a narrative story here. I think this clearly confirms that Jurassic World Dominion will show us former ACU workers working for the US Fish and Wildlife Service to contain the animals. Because what else could it be? It's not as if Lego would use the same head again, right?
I would imagine not. And if that's the case, hello, knowledge bomb.
Cool to hear first.
This is why.
Exclusive.
This is why you listen. You can't get this exclusive stuff anywhere else.
Lego, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. I love you.
That was great. The ending clip there of Tom apologizing to Lego is absolutely iconic and perfect for everything that goes on here, all the craziness. However, it's been 5 years. 5 years of this podcast. You heard how it started. It was an absolute crapshoot. It was absolute trash for the first few episodes. I had no idea what I was doing, but my God, it is a giant passion of mine, and I could not fit enough people into this. Everybody that is on this episode, I thank you so much for listening. I thank you so much for giving me your time. Those of you that are not on the episode, I appreciate you as well. I was trying to keep this as concise as possible. Like I said, it probably could have gone hours and hours and hours. However, I appreciate every single one of you that listen. I appreciate the comments, the concerns, the emails, everything that happens along with this. I take feedback and I run with it. And things have changed over the years, and I am growing just like everybody else, you know? So, however, it's been 5 years. This is the quote unquote 300th episode. It is the 300th numbered episode. We are somewhere up near 500 at this point in time. However, I look forward to spending many, many more episodes talking about Lego, talking to all of you out there that do creative things with Lego. It doesn't matter what you can make jewelry, you can make Rapunzel towers, you can make Encanto houses, you can make Jurassic Park stuff, you can make mosaics. It doesn't matter. I want to hear about it. I want to bring it to all of you out there listening right now. And I hope we're around another 5 years. I hope you stick around for the journey. And from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate every single one of you in the last 5 years. Whether you found me today or you found me 5 years ago in February of 2018, I appreciate you. So with that, I am your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.